Stand up, Felix.
Fair
Come on.
enough.
Any kids around
We're not
here?
used to sitting down all the time, are we? That's okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr.
you
Gil
been?
Gerard and Felix Silla.
Hi, y'all.
Now I'm right from Georgia.
All the way from
Are you all?
Georgia.
Okay, so,
Yeah, what do you need?
that's a question. That's a-
You got questions. They got questions. I don't care about your questions.
They're the same question.
How y'all doing?
Yeah.
Let's just ignore this guy, okay? He's the moderator. He's been on drugs for a long time. Sad. All right, what do you want? Go on.
All right, let's start with how'd you first, find out about the series?
How did I find out about it?
Well, I mean, were you contacted by an agent?
First time they offered me the role,
Fair enough.
and I turned it down.
Okay. Why?
Because I didn't want to do a cartoon character.
But what,
I saw what happened to Adam West's career after he did Batman, and I didn't want that. You know that Adam West didn't work for 20 years after that? He couldn't get arrested. Of course, today he could have gotten arrested, but he couldn't have gotten arrested then. His agent was telling me that he couldn't even do. He tried to get him on quiz shows and stuff, and they weren't interested in booking him. The way he was able to survive was he did like dinner theater around the country. Excuse me?
pardon me.
Are you going to be making noise like that all the time?
I'm good.
Okay. So anyway, they offered it to me 3 times, and I turned it down. I didn't read the script. I just said I'm not interested. I'd also done a pilot for Michael Landon for a series which was called Stone, and I was more interested in working with Michael than I was doing Buck Rogers. And then Universal came back and said that, asked my agent if he would read the script, and if he thought it was something I might like, if he'd asked me if I would at least read the script. So I did, and I liked it. I liked the humanity of Buck Rogers and the sense of humor, and it wasn't a comic book kind of a character, so I decided I'd go ahead and do the movie, and they said they would take second position to Mike's show, and by that they meant that if they wanted me to do Buck Rogers, and if the show got picked up, if Mike's show got picked up, they would have to find somebody else to play Buck Rogers in the series. So that's what happened. I decided to go ahead and do it. Mike's show wasn't picked up, and the show went out as it was a motion picture first, and it was so successful that NBC decided to make a series out of it, and I was already stuck with the series. Here I am. Is that okay?
That's pretty good.
All right.
Felix, how about yourself?
How do I get started?
He's just lucky to get the
Well, how'd you get started with the
job.
Buck Rogers show?
Here we go again.
There you go
I'm
again.
going to shut up.
Say again?
Let me talk, you shut up.
Stand up.
I am standing up. Anyway, actually, the way it came about, I knew one of the producers, but am I keeping you awake?
So you're not,
Am I keeping you awake?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Try harder, would you?
Wake up, will you?
Why him?
Anyway, I had to compete with other old people. Also, I think they were talking about, you remember the Battlestar Galactica Old Monkey?
Yeah.
They were talking about putting the old monkey inside the suit.
In our show?
Buck Rogers,
Oh,
yeah.
God.
I mean, how can you make a little animal walk around and standing all day, inside of a suit? So that was my competition. I had to compete.
That's what the astronauts were talking about. Remember, they said the monkey went up instead of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Oh.
That's how I got my
Thank
job.
God,
That's
that
how I got
was
the
a
job.
little bit too long.
Yeah, I know.
Got to tell you something though. I've done this both behind his back and in front of his face. But Felix here never gets the credit for what he did with Twiki. That character that was so beloved, some people don't like him, that's fine, but that most people really love the character of Twiki. When we shot the motion picture, Twiki did not have a voice. It was all, the whole relationship between Twiki and Buck was silent on his part. What Felix did was, he created a character that was so lovable and so warm without being seen at all. Through 2 inches of plastic. And to me, that is like a really incredible thing that he did. And he never gets the credit he deserves for it. So would you give him a hand for
appreciate,
What?
I really, you know, I mean, I didn't know you were such a good friend, but I understand when I'm not around, you say other stories.
No.
The driver told me on the way over here from Boston,
Yeah.
he said, I have a message from you, from Gil Gerard to you, and he said, stand up. And you know what, that's the same thing with all of us.
Yeah.
And I tell Gil, shut up.
Shut your face.
Shut your face, you're right.
Gil, what was the experience? I mean, before.
Are you still here?
I'm here.
Okay.
You're still here, okay.
You're still here. Can you believe it?
Prior to Buck Rogers, you were pretty much a character actor too. You were in Little
No,
Little
I
House on
wasn't.
the
I was
Prairie.
a star.
You were a star.
I was a leading man. I've never been a character
Little House
actor.
on the
Go to your
Prairie.
room.
Sorry,
Little House on the Prairie? What?
on the Prairie.
On the Prairie, yes.
The
I played the
Doctors.
handyman on the Little
One of
House.
the doctors. Wi-Fi though.
Yeah.
What was the
I
experience?
was a guest star. I was a guest star on 2 shows. Hawaii 5-0 and Little House on the Prairie.
What about the doctors?
I was a star on the
Oh,
Doctor.
you were a star of the doctors.
Yeah, I didn't guest star. I was there for 3.5 years. You don't guest star for 3.5 years. Go to your room.
You're a special, very special guest star.
No, I was one of the stars of the
My
show.
question is that, but you became a virtual.
Where did you get this guy? What?
You became an overnight sensation with Buck Rogers. Would you agree?
Yeah, after 10 years in the business, yeah.
Sure, but what was the experience like going from becoming instantly recognizable?
I was already recognizable.
Ah,
Yeah, I was. I was recognizable. No, don't argue with me, man. It's my career.
I'm not
What are
arguing.
you arguing? Like, oh no, you weren't recognizable. Yes, I was. It was before you were
I
born.
was 6.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were.
Jesus, man. The Doctors were seen all over the world. Did you know that?
Yes.
I went to Europe. I was recognized from the Doctors
I know.
that I did. You don't know that. You were only 6 years old.
I know I'm from.
Jesus, who got this guy? Huh? You weren't recognizable. I wasn't an instant success. I was 10 years in the business. I did over 400 commercials. I'd already produced a motion picture of for myself before I did Buck Rogers. Anything else you got to say?
IMDb is wrong.
Huh?
Internet Movie Database is wrong.
Oh, please. They don't even have Buck Rogers down as a motion picture on IMDb. You know how long I've been fighting with them about that? They only have it down as a pilot for a television show. Yes, thank you. It was one of the top 5 grossing motion pictures in 1979. Thank you. It was picked by Look magazine as one of the 5 best pictures of the year, with China Syndrome, The Champ, and Buck Rogers was number 3. I have the clipping. But I can't get IMDb to do it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. It grossed $12 million in 1979 dollars. Its opening weekend. You know what that is today?
It's like 100 million.
No. Go to your room. Where did you get this guy? Obviously you weren't a math major. No, it was about a $40 million weekend in today's dollars. It grossed $35 million bucks. It was only out for a month. Sid Sheinberg, who was president of Universal, did not like the show, the movie. They had pre-sold it to cable, so he jerked it out of the theaters even though there were lines around the block to watch it. So in 1 month, it grossed $35 million bucks in 1979 dollars, which is close to $100 million.
Oh, that's just talking.
Thank you very much. You're just talking. You're just talking. Just talking. I'm here, I'm talking. Okay? You're in my room now.
I'm in your room.
Yes. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah, pretty.
I don't even forget what it was.
I don't know what it was.
I don't either. So, what else?
Well, Felix.
Yes. What can
I don't know if
do for you?
everyone in our audience knows that Felix has appeared in virtually every aspect of pop culture, among, besides Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica, Bonanza the Monkeys, Batman Returns, E.T.
Cousin Ed? He was Cousin Ed?
Yes, Cousin Ed.
Yeah, that was before Buck Rogers.
Where did they get this guy?
54.
Well, you're right here, Cousin Ed.
Oh, you got it. Well, get to it.
All right. Cousin Ed.
Bonanza? What were you in Bonanza?
We were leprechauns. That's
We were
one of the
leprechauns.
best episodes they ever put out. It
Yeah.
comes on every St. Patrick's Day.
Does it?
Yeah.
Don't Be
Final
Afraid,
day.
the original Don't Be Afraid of the Dark movie.
Right?
How did you get started as an actor?
As an actor?
Yeah.
It was like a mistake, you know. I was in California, and I was working for a company that did publicity for the circus. Oh, I'm not talking to him?
No.
Okay. I was talking to you, actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anyway, I went to work for a company that did publicity for the Ringling Brothers Circus when I came to LA, because I just quit the circus. And a gentleman from MGM came and they said they were looking for little people to do some stunt for a little boy. So the guy said, why don't you go down to MGM and maybe you might be the lucky guy, and I was.
No, they were lucky.
Actually, no, they got me in there, and there was a movie called The Ticklish Affair. Actually, the first was they called The Moonwalk. Then they changed to A Ticklish Affair with Shirley Jones, Carolyn Jones, Gig Young, Red Buttons, Edgar Buchanan. They used to hang me up in a crane like 110 feet off the ground every day, and I'm flying all over. And one day we were filming over a golf course, and I'm up there, and all of a sudden I look down and I see everybody walking away. I went from the camera and everything, and they were going to lunch. So I kind of screamed a little bit and said, "Hey guys, what about me?" The guy looks up, "Oh, I'm sorry, we forgot, I won't let you down." So they were walking away, going to lunch, and they just left me 110 feet off the ground. Over the golf course.
It's like they used to leave you in the suit.
In the suit for half an hour, fixing the stupid camera while the camera broke, and all Crichton and was spinning against the wall.
Oh yeah, well that was good.
The second season, so that's what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, the
What'd
rest
you do in the
is-
circus?
I started out as a clown, and I went to bareback riding, the horse.
I figured that. I
A
didn't
girl
think
from
it was
Italy. Huh?
Yeah. Excuse
What?
me?
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's on first?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Third, I think.
Let's go to Boston. We'll find. Oh no, in the South they get played.
That's right, yeah.
It's a different game. So
We've been
that's-
doing this for
that's-
30 years.
That's how we got started.
Only he and I understand what we're saying.
The series took
Oh, you're there still. God, did no one pull the hook on this guy? What's the next one? Is this for Felix again?
Well, I have a Felix question, sure, which is how, did you talk about how uncomfortable the suit was? Or was it,
What the costume was?
How uncomfortable it was.
Well, it wasn't really uncomfortable. The only thing that was uncomfortable, I couldn't sit. So, at that time I used to smoke, and I told the wardrobe guys to take, it was like a skirt type, and then like a suit of armor. Just take the skirt off, take the face mask, I could have a cigarette, or,
A cigar. You like
that's it.
cigars.
Huh?
You like cigars.
No, I never smoked cigars.
Yes,
It
you
was
did.
Jerry, my
I saw you. I have a picture of you smoking a cigar.
Once, I think. Anyway,
It's a Churchill. It's about the same size you are.
you remember Bob?
You're like holding like that.
You remember Bob Bender? Assistant
Hi,
director?
who could forget Bob?
That's our assistant director.
Yes.
I had to go to the bathroom one day, and I'm asking the guys, you know what, Bob? I need to go to the bathroom. Can you have my costume take off? Well, can you wait 5 minutes? Okay. So 5 minutes later came, and Bob, I need to go to the bathroom. Can I go? Oh, can you wait 5 minutes? And then all of a sudden I told the wardrobe guy, Paul, I said, you know what, Paul, take this crap off of me, and I want to go to the bathroom. I took
Glad
the
you
thing,
cleaned that up.
I took the thing off. I went to the bathroom, I came back, they were not ready. Half an hour later, still they were not ready. I could have standing there waiting for,
You could have peed forever.
oh, I mean, I could still do
river.
that. Yeah, I could have done it right
You
now.
could pee me a river, pee me a river. Never.
No, that's a wrong song.
Oh, yeah. It's my interpretation of it.
Uh-oh, repeat my... Okay, that's how it goes in the movies, like hurry up and wait. They call you like
It's the army,
seven,
hurry up and wait, not the movies.
the TV shows, movies, what movies?
It's showbiz, yeah.
Showbiz?
It's showbiz, that's
Oh,
the way,
well, okay.
ain't no other biz like.
That's right.
Do any of you have a question?
Yes,
Yes.
Felix, where are you from originally?
I'm from Italy. Yeah,
Where in Italy?
Abruzzi.
Abruzzi.
Yeah.
You're Abruzzi.
Testa dura.
I've been there.
You've been there?
I've been to Abruzzi.
Where? Not my
Long time
hometown.
ago. Yeah, your hometown. I've been to your hometown.
You don't even know
I've
where
seen the plaque on the building where you were born.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Still there?
See,
Wow.
it's amazing. I've been to Abruzzi.
So you've been
It's
over
up in
there.
the mountains.
That's beautiful. My town is like, somebody painted the town right against the mountain.
Yeah.
Huge castle, very, very old castle.
That's one. I didn't know you were from Abruzzi.
I just
You're
told
Abruzzi. I know you
I
just
just
told me.
told
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know that.
You didn't know before, I just told you.
What? You just told me now. I know.
That's how you know it, because I just
I
told you.
know. I said, but
Okay.
I was in Abruzzi.
But you
I
never
didn't know.
been
I
there,
would
you
look up
lied.
your
You lied.
lineage.
No, you
or something.
lied to me.
What?
You lied to me.
I wouldn't lie to you, Felix.
You will never lie to me.
Never.
Okay.
Little shit. I would never do that.
You guys heard that?
No, they didn't hear that. Did you? No. See?
Oh,
I got
yeah.
the witness.
All my friends, huh?
Yeah, all your friends.
Yeah, right.
Like Hollywood all over again, isn't it?
Anyway, that's what
Yes, right there. Behind the camera. Yes, you? No. Yeah, you're behind the camera. Yes, sir.
First of all, Felix, I'm told that my family hails from Abruzzi as well.
Yes.
So you're an Abu says as well,
Abu
eh?
says, yeah.
Yes, in Africa.
Yes.
And Gil,
It's a den of thieves, you know that.
He wants to ask you a
I got
question.
Yes.
another part.
I'm sorry.
So, what is your opinion of like how the direction of the show changed from the first season to the second season when you got on the show?
Are there kids present? Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I always wanted Buck to stay on Earth, to tell you the truth. Because I thought that he should have adventures on Earth. I couldn't understand how a guy who'd been gone for 500 years decided to just turn around and leave again. I actually made a presentation to the executives at Universal, the president of Universal Television and his vice president. And I told them what I had always wanted to do with Buck Rogers, and they said that was the best idea they heard in 2 years. Why happened? They said, how come we haven't heard it before? I said, because no one would listen to me. I was trying to go through channels to the story editors and all this kind of stuff, and the producers, and they were like, no, we'll do it. So they liked it enough that they asked me to pitch it to the president of NBC, who was a personal friend. His name was Brandon Tartikoff. So I called Brandon and I said, you know, they want me to tell you the story, so here's the story. This is what we'd like to do, you know, if it goes to a third season. And he said, if it gets picked up for a third season, that's the direction we'll take. And unfortunately, it wasn't picked up. Buck was one of the most expensive shows on television at the time. It was over $1.5 million an episode. It was pretty pricey. And most of it was because of the special effects. They cost a lot of money. If we had gone the way I wanted to go, the price of the show would have gone down quite a bit because we wouldn't have to be doing those things every week. It would give the guys who were doing the special effects a little more time to do something. I just felt like it would have appealed to a wider audience to do more character-driven stories. Because my whole idea about television is it's a very personal medium. You know, you as an audience invite us as characters into your home. You know, we sit down and have dinner with you, basically. You know, you sit at your TV trays or whatever you're doing, and you have, with your families, you're sitting around and we're in your home, visiting with you. I kept saying to them, look, you know, that what works in a movie theater for 2 hours does not work on a nightly basis or a weekly basis for a television show. People get bored watching a spaceship go by. You know, you can do that sort of thing once in 2 hours, but every week you need to have characters because that's who these people are inviting into their homes. So they finally heard me, and unfortunately it was too late. But that was it. Anybody? Just a yes, sir.
Yeah, this young lady actually asked half my question. I'm going to ask you both where you hail from. So,
Okay, he's from Abruzes.
right.
Abruzzi.
Now I know.
Which makes him an Abruzes, and you're an what?
Now I know he's been in Italy because he's talking when he's trying to imitate an Italian. But he's not an Italian. He hasn't been in Italy ever.
No.
Yet, ever.
I have been in Italy.
Okay, all right. But
Yeah.
what is this?
What?
What is this?
I saw the wanted poster, okay?
Okay.
All right, I wasn't going to talk
You've
about
been in
that.
Italy, okay.
But they're still looking for you in Abruzzi.
They are?
Yeah.
Did you tell them where I am?
No, I wouldn't do that. You're a friend of mine.
Thank you.
I figured there had to be a reason.
Thank you for being
I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas originally. Yeah. Grew up in Little Rock and went from Little Rock to New York. At one time I was an industrial chemist before I became an actor. I had 15 laboratories and 45 men working for me. I was on 2 advisory task forces to the governor of Arkansas, one on the metalworking industry and one on the chemical industry in the state. And I was bored. I just thought, you know, I don't want to be doing this the rest of my life, so I started thinking about what I wanted to do, and what I wanted to do was act. It was the one thing I had enjoyed all aspects of. So I resigned from all the stuff that I was doing, sold the car that I had, turned in my company car that I had, said, see you to the governor, and went to New York and started driving a cab and going to acting school. And I never looked back. That was 40 years ago.
What about
well, actually, longer ago now, 1969.
Yeah.
What do you want?
What about the other thing? Well, you're a pilot, right?
Yeah, I'm a pilot, yeah.
Why didn't you tell them?
Because they didn't ask.
Oh, well, I didn't ask.
Big mouth. Now they're going to think I'm going to take them around for rides around Providence or something. Yeah. Huh? Where'd you hear that?
Are you?
It's one of those mafia rumors. Yeah, I'm a licensed pilot. And I got to say, Buck Rogers is, Sammy Sosa said about baseball, Buck Rogers has been very, very good to me. Because of Buck Rogers, I've flown 4 military jets. I did an hour-and-a-half dogfight with another F-4 Phantom. Flew from San Diego, from the Top Gun base in San Diego at Miramar to Yuma, Arizona, which is where they have a big range there and where they do dogfights and stuff. Yeah, remember Top Gun, the movie? Remember when that jet goes swooping by? We did that. It's a 1,000-knot canopy to canopy pass, and what it means is that the closing speed is 1,000 knots, because we were doing 500 knots and the other F-4 was doing 500 knots, and we came at each other canopy to canopy, and I'm out like this, and we went, Pshoom! And I was like, yes! I love that, man. Are you kidding? Yeah, and then we just dove and went 50 feet down to the desert floor and started going through the mesas and chasing each other and firing electronic missiles and stuff. It was fantastic.
So what you did actually on the TV show, you actually kind of felt that.
Well, I actually did it before I did. Yes, yeah, I actually did it instead of playing like I was doing it. And then I was invited to fly with the Blue Angels, so I got to fly some formation flying with another, it was an A4 at the time, or an A6, whatever the plane was they were using at the time. So I did 3-foot wingtip to canopy, formation flying with another jet. Then the Air Force heard that I'd been doing this for the Navy, and they were like, hey, what about us? So they invited me to come down. I flew a T-38, and then I became friends with a general there who was running the base in San Antonio. And he said, how would you like to fly an F-16? I said, yeah, how about yesterday? So he called me up about a week later and he said, well, the F-16 isn't available, but how about the F-15 Eagle? Would you mind that? And I said, no. And he said, so he set it up to fly out of Edwards Air Force Base. And so I flew my single engine plane to Edwards, landed at that huge landing strip by special permission of the Air Force, got out, hopped in an F-15 Eagle, and had the ride of my life. The thing that impressed me, though, was, this was quite a while back, was the dedication of the people who fly these planes and who take care of these planes, the people who carry the United States flag all over the world. Yeah. They don't get nearly the credit they deserve. They were a dedicated bunch of people. They worked very, very hard, and I was having a great time. But I was really impressed with these people. They were just incredible, and they loved this country. They love it enough to risk their lives for it, to put it on the line, and not many people are willing to do that. They seem to be ashamed to be Americans, but they're not. Yes, sir?
That's great, thank you.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to say what you said there was correct. I was in an experimental base in Maryland, and I assure you, you know what they go through.
Mm-hmm.
I was a general foreman, and always found, most of the time, we only chief of the job.
Yeah.
And we're on, so close to death. They had more admirals than they had chiefs and more captains than they had enlistment, because they got their rank quick.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Oh, I'd like to ask a question.
Sure, go ahead.
The cultural reference.
Say again?
The cultural.
Reference, yeah.
1980s and the 21st century, you had, maybe elaborate on that. You had different terms that were used, and then different people would say a piece of cake, and then they look at you real funny like
Right.
And in the
Well, it was the idea was that it was emphasizing that Buck was a man out of time, that he was not of this time, and that's why those cultural references came through. So that was basically what that was all about. Somebody else had their hand up over here. Yes, sir.
I remember reading, I think it was a little item Stalin magazine. How true was it? Were you ever up the role of Batman at some point?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I was offered James Bond once after Roger Moore. And I said, no, I really don't want to do that. It's an iconic character, and I just don't. Sean Connery did such a good job, and Roger Moore wasn't too bad either, and I just thought, I just don't want to do that. I was also offered $6 Million Man. they were going to get rid of Lee Majors, and they actually had a secret meeting with me over at Paramount. I was doing the show for the movie for Michael Landon, and so we had a very quiet lunch. It was wild. It was like something out of a bad movie. But they were talking about, you know, they wanted me to come in, and they were going to have me come in as his brother or something, and then phase him out because he was giving them some problems with the contract or something. And I said, no, I don't want to do that, because at the time, $6 Million Man was starting to go down in the ratings, and so they were trying to do it. And I thought, I don't want to ride this ship under the ocean. Thank you very much. So, somebody, so you don't raise your hand. Somebody else had their hand up over here. Okay, go ahead.
The two of you were with some really good guest stars on Buck Rogers. Any particular guest stars stand out?
They all did, actually. I mean, Jack Palance, of course, comes to mind. It's hard for Jack not to stand out, right? They were all terrific people. I enjoyed working with every one of them. Vera Miles was great. Sam Jaffe, can you believe he was on the show?
Yeah, Buster Crabbe, too.
The original Gunga Din, you know that? Sam Jaffe played Gunga Din in the movie with Cary Grant and Wallace Beery. Some of those people.
What about Buster Crabbe?
Buster, yeah. Buster, the original Buck Rogers, and the original Flash Gordon, and he was also Tarzan. He and I became good friends from that show. He had me come to some dinners for astronauts in Arizona and New Mexico and stuff, which was kind of fun. Got to meet some of the guys that had actually done what I supposedly did. Risk a lot more than their paychecks to do it. But yeah, Buster said something to me really funny when we were doing the show. He said, you know, everybody laughs at the special effects of my show, you know, we did back in the 20s. He said, you know, those were the whiz-bang special effects of the 20s. And, you know, now it's like you can see the strings and the smoke coming up like that. And he said, you know, think about what people are going to be saying about your show and these whiz-bang special effects in 50 years. So there were times when the show would come up after the show was canceled, and I went on with my life, and the show would come up or something, and every time I watch the show now, I hear his voice in my head, basically saying, oh, do they still hold up? And so far they do. So far they do. And I must say again, you know, Felix didn't get the credit he deserves, and neither do the special effects guys. You know, they were being compared with the Star Wars people all the time. And the Star Wars people had 2 years to do those special effects for each individual movie. These guys were doing that every week. Every week. And it took all day to do one shot. And they weren't doing CGI. They were doing it with computers. The only way they could do it was that, for instance, in the fight scene, they would shoot the starfighter. Let's say that the action was the starfighter turns and banks to the right and goes like that. Okay, that was the shot they got that day. That's how long it took. The next day, they would shoot the rocket flame. They couldn't shoot the two together because it was so bright it would have washed out the image of the starfighter. And the only way they could do it was that the computer could match to a 10,000th of a milliliter, or a millimeter, or milliliters of liquid measurement. 10,000th of a millimeter. So that, you know, then the fire from the rocket would bank and go like that. And then they would put the two things together. But that took them all day to do those shots. And those guys did a hell of a job. And I just thought they really got unfairly compared to people who had all the time in the world and all the money in the world to do what they did. So again, a hand for the guys that did the special effects. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Can you speak, both of you speak as actors, what it's like, what it was like to work without all the ADR and Foley sound that would come afterwards when you're on set, having to imagine the gun blasts and the sounds in your voice. What was that like? How many challenges that present?
Well, you know, when we did the movie, for instance, Glenn Larson was noted as a guy who would, you know, he rewrote in editing. I mean, you go in and he had lines for me, and they're like, where does this come from? You know, what was I doing before? What am I doing? You know, who am I talking to? But the hardest part was in reacting to something that they didn't know. They didn't know what it was. You know, you'd say, okay, we're supposed to be seeing this monster and responding to it. How big is it? We don't know. What is it? We don't know. Hasn't been done yet. Okay. So, you know, basically, we would just do a variety of reactions, starting at this and over here and down here, just to try so that something would cut. And you just had to use your own imagination as far as what you were seeing, what kind of monster it might be, or what kind of a, you know, bad guy or something. I know with the laser beam, you know, the lasers were hand painted, frame by frame. And I had a light on the end of my ray gun, and whenever I would, you know, supposedly I'd fire it, the light would go off, and then the special effects guys would have, there'd be an explosion. Let's say I was blowing a lock away or something, and there'd be an explosion. And then what they would do is they'd be cued by the flash of the light, and then they would start to draw the laser frame by frame. Excuse me. So that then it would finally hit the lock that I was shooting at, and there'd be the explosion that they'd already done. So it was interesting. Yeah, it was pretty wild. The hardest thing was doing the fight scenes in the Starfighter, because I was up on a 3-story gimbal in a Starfighter model, the full-scale model, and it took so long to get the star field in sync with the film, with the camera. Many times I would just fall asleep up there. I just, you know, they'd come wake me up. So I remember one time I was up there, and John Voight was a friend, and he'd drop by to say hello, and I was up in the gimbal, and luckily I hadn't fallen asleep, and I looked down and I said, "Hey, John, I'll be down in about 6 hours." So it was kind of wild, but it was fun. It was an interesting thing to do. So, anybody else? Yes, sir.
As a young man watching this show, and kind of coming into observing the opposite sex, I have one question for Gil.
I observe the opposite sex as much as possible. Yes. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Aaron Gray or Pamela Hamilton?
Or, why not both? Do I have to choose? And how could you? They're both brunettes, I mean, you know, what can I say? Well, as far as characters, you know, that was totally different, but yeah, I think I'd take them both, no problem. Yeah, huh?
You had trouble getting those scenes past the censors at the time?
No.
Particularly the Princess Ardala ones where...
Yeah, no, not at all. You mean with us? Yeah. She wore it well, didn't she? She had, I mean, you know, so as you women would know, I mean, how difficult is that for someone to walk in front of about, what, 500 people dressed like that and carry it off as well as she did? Woman in class. Yes. She trained at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in England. She was quite an accomplished actress, and she was very good. I really liked it. Pamela was a terrific lady. She's happily married to a guy who was executive producer of all of Aaron Spelling's shows. And she is a pilot. She flies, and she's a writer now. The last book she wrote was I talked to her about 2 months ago. And she wrote a Sicilian cookbook, because her husband's Sicilian. And now she's writing another book. I asked her about coming to the shows, and she said, "I'm such a hermit, I don't even go out to dinner." She said, "I just enjoy being in my home and quiet and writing my books." I said, "Well, the fans all would love to see it." So, probably not going to happen. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Whoop, up, yep. Oh, okay, he gave you, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say I have a comment, that you guys make me want to go back and watch Buck Rogers. It really does. Yeah.
You have the DVD? I have some. I think I got one left.
Are you going to sign it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's $45 signed. which means you're only paying like 20 bucks for the DVDs. You can't get them that cheap at a Walmart.
Wait a minute. How about 20 bucks?
What?
How about 20 bucks, time?
Well, then, we're not negotiating here. That is the price. I get 25 bucks for my signature, and it's 20 bucks for the DVDs. Yeah, see?
I guess you are making.
Well, I had to buy the things myself. So I'm basically not making anything on the DVD. Yeah.
Universal doesn't give you anything for free anyway. So.
That's right. They're not paying me anything for the DVDs. Nothing. They wanted us to all do commentary for the DVDs, but they didn't want to pay us anything. It's like, I don't remember taking Universal to, to raise, as we used to say in the South. So, you want it, it's 45 bucks, okay? Get over it. It's worth twice that. Yeah. Somebody else? Yes, sir.
Gentlemen,
20 bucks? What? We're not bidding, I told you. Yeah.
Question, you obviously retain a lot of memories from the shows. Did you retain anything physical from the shows from Universal?
Oh, you mean, did I take anything? I have all the leather jackets I wore. Yeah. No. I could have had it all. I could have had the Starfight. I was like, what am I going to do with this thing? Put it in my backyard and charge kids 25 cents to ride it? I mean, I had no concept about it. I went on to do other things. I had no idea about sci-fi or conventions. I mean, I remember they drove me down to San Diego to give a talk. And I was sitting in a room that had probably 2,000 people in it. And I was stunned. I mean, people were asking me questions about the show, and I'm like, hell, I don't know. I didn't write it, I just acted in it, So I've tried to become a little bit more erudite as far as the show is concerned.
I was just wondering, I watched a lot of programming, they talk about how they just dismantle everything after a show is closed.
Oh, yeah.
Whether people kind of end up in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah, I could have had it all. I could have had all my costumes, everybody's costumes. I could have had anything I wanted. I was the star of the show. I could have had the ray gun. I could have all that stuff. It's like, what am I going to do with this?
Yeah, what was your answer, Gil?
What?
What was your answer when they said, do you have everything you want? You said, well, what am I going to do with this? S-I-H-T, whatever.
That's nice.
Now you wish you had it.
Well,
How do you know? How do you
if wishes were dimes, I'd
Yeah, we
be
didn't
a
know.
millionaire.
So I had the suit for 15 years.
Yeah, he had the suit.
It kept falling apart, so I got rid of it.
Yeah.
Now I wish I had it because it's, worth a lot of money.
He's Italian. He lives a lot of his life wishing. But he grew up in Abruzzi. What can I tell you? I've been there,
I know you've been. I've been 3-4 times already.
What?
What?
Huh?
No, you told me you've been this. I know. I believe you now.
Yeah.
I
I had an
believe you.
ex-wife from that area.
Right? Oh, yeah, that's right. I know her.
Yeah.
She used to live next to my brother in New York, upstate in New York.
Is he?
Connie, yeah.
Yeah.
Very close to my brother, really.
Really? That's too bad for your brother.
Oh, I think that they knew them.
Yeah?
They were very close, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, forget about the
Okay.
ex-wife.
Another ex-wife. Yes, ma'am. Back there.
This is for Felix Silla. How did you get into show business?
Oh, we just answered that. He came from the circus. Where were you?
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
I was downstairs. I got here late.
Oh, okay. He came from the circus.
Actually, I
and,
started out with the Ringling Brothers Circus. I traveled for about 6-7 years. And then in 1962, I decided to, we were playing in Los Angeles, California. And I decided to quit. And I wanted to just, I had enough shows, circus. I got to see big city, little city, all over the place. And I decided to live in California. And a guy from MGM came and he looked for people to do some stunts and work. And that's how I got started out. I got the job.
He was a stunt man. He used to kick ass and take names.
I'd like to ask Felix about his working with the actors and co-stars on Addams Family.
Addams Family, there was a great show. John Astin and Carolyn Jonas, beautiful lady and a wonderful actress. Jackie Coogan was funny. He used to fall asleep every time he was off the set, and he used to ruin so many scenes, snoring. The kids, the little girl could not read. Yeah, she was like 6 years old. It was a really nice to work with those people. Also nice to work with this guy next to me, Buck Rogers. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
What?
It was fun working with you. I know he had to carry me all over the place, remember?
I know.
And he used to say,
I was very protective of you.
well, I couldn't go anywhere up and down the steps, you know.
Yeah.
There was no way I could climb with this stupid costume on. And he had to pick me up and put me in a fighter. And he, what did you tell me? You're getting heavy or whatever?
Yeah, cut down on the food, would you?
Cut down on the food, yeah. You remember the day I fell? Actually, it was at night.
It was when we were doing the Anarchia thing.
Yeah, in the cemetery, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was the back lot of Universal, but
yeah,
it's supposed to be the cemetery.
Garbage dump.
Yeah.
That's what it was, actually. Anyway, we were doing a scene with Gil and I, and we got chased by the music, right?
Yeah.
It was dark. And
the Anarchians.
Yeah, and it had a fog all over the place. So before we started the scene, I told Gil, I'm going to look and see, but there was like a little going up like that, and it come down.
Yeah, there was a log you had to go over. It was like, there's no way you're going to get over
So the
that.
camera was coming along the side here on the track, and we were running that way. So Gil said to me, why don't you go by 5 feet ahead of me, I give you a little lead, and then, then I'll catch up with you. So I said, okay. So I started running on action, started running up, and all of a sudden coming down, I fell flat on my face. I mean, like just like that. So the guy jumps over from the other side with the camera, the helper, he picks me up under my armpits like this, he's lifting me up, and he kept saying to the director, what do you want me to do with this guy? And I kept saying, put me down.
Because the thing was choking me.
He kept repeating 3 or 4 times. What do you want me to do with this guy? And I kept saying, son of a bitch, put me down. Because I was falling into the suit. While he's lifting me up, I was stinging into it, and he was choking me. So finally he just said, okay, he put me down. But it was a great scene, and
yeah,
and then I got to think about it. I said, well, what happened to the suit? Nothing happened to it. It didn't break, nothing.
Yeah,
I
well,
didn't
it was made out of rubber, wasn't it?
What was it? Fiberglass
Oh, was
and
it?
rubber, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was a fun scene that night.
We're having a little private conversation.
Yeah, I know. So,
Yeah, that was all night in the back lot of Universal. I have a picture of the two of us standing. It's actually what they call a lobby card from Spain that we found, and it's a really great shot of the two of us, and it was probably about 3 in the morning when the picture was taken. The glamour of showbiz. Yes, sir.
What was your schedules like during?
Say again?
What was your schedule like?
12 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then usually at the end of, on Friday was usually 14 to 15 hours because you had a longer turnaround. And when we were shooting the series, basically I would go from the set to, from my dressing room to LAX and get on a plane and fly all night someplace and do promotion all weekend for the show. And then fly back on Sunday night and then get up at 4 o'clock on Monday morning and go to work and work all day, and that was my life. I was trying to help the show as much as I could. Yes, sir.
There was a question over there.
What?
There was a gentleman over there. You come next.
How do you know he's a gentleman? You never know.
Oh, you never know?
Did you check to see if he was a gentleman? Is he a gentleman?
He is a gentleman.
Okay, well, we have some certification from a lady next to him. So. I said, hey, don't be causing trouble.
What's your question?
Don't turn on the women, man. They will rip you apart.
I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about your work with Aaron Gray. Particularly, I was a little interested in the second episode. From
The second episode?
Second episode from the Searcher season. With,
I don't know what the second episode was.
The telepathic.
I have no idea.
7 dwarf type characters. No.
I have no idea.
Well, tell us something about working with Aaron Gray, please.
It was fine. Aaron was very new to the business at the time. Actually, they tried to fire her after the movie was over because she was very young in the business. I think it was like the second thing she'd ever done. And they had me reading with a lot of other women that they wanted to replace her with. And I said, basically, yes, she is, she's a little stiff. Yes, she's a little, she makes some strange choices, but she's young in the business. And I said, I can work with her. And actually, the awkwardness that she has, or that you see on the screen, I said, that works for the character of Buck Rogers. She's a perfect foil for Buck. Because she is, the whole society is kind of stiff and stilted, and So whatever she's doing, you know, it works, and I can work with her. So they said, okay, you know, then they stopped trying to replace her.
So was a lot of the growth of the two characters, was that paralleled as with you as actors?
A lot of the what?
The growth of the
growth of the characters?
Characters' relationship with each other, that must have been paralleled with the two of you?
Probably, yeah, it probably has something to do with it. You know, I fought very hard for, there's a still shot of Aaron and I standing on a walkway with the Bonaventure Hotel in the background in Los Angeles, the circular hotels. And the reason we're standing there is that I had stopped production because the scene that we were shooting was a kind of a ballroom scene, kind of a thing. And I noticed that there were no women in uniform. They were all in gowns and only the men were in uniforms. And I said, I want to see women in uniforms. I said, you know, the little girls are going to be watching this show. I said, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. I don't want to underline it and go, oh, look, all these women. But I said, I just want, if a little girl's watching the show, I want her to see women doing all these different jobs. I want the little girl to see women being pilots and guards and soldiers and mechanics in the hangar scene. And I said, I want to see women in uniform. You know, Erin, or the character Wilma, is not going to be the sort of figurehead female, you know, the only one. And I said, what it does is it denigrates her character. If she's the only woman, then it becomes like, oh, well, she's just sort of the status, you know, okay, we have a woman. I said, you know, this is after a terrible Holocaust of some kind. We're going to need everybody we can use, everybody that, you know, can do the job. So I said, you know, we're not going to shoot this scene until you get me some women in uniforms. So they did. They were a little pissed off at me. But I just... they said I was difficult. I said, I'm not difficult. If you just, you know, when you understand, you're 500 years in the future. You know, this is not 1980, this is 2040, 2499 or whatever it is. I said, you know, women should be valued. And again, I said, I don't want it to be underlined. I don't want Buck to say anything about it. It's just that that's the way it is. So now when you, I mean, we had women pilots and you saw them, you know, they perished in combat, just like the men did. You know, they were there and they were giving it their all just like the men were. And I was very proud of that, the fact that and I've seen, you know, women have stood up in some of these Q&As and said that because of Erin's character and seeing the women on the shows, that I actually had a woman write me and tell me that she became a pilot in the Air Force because of watching Buck Rogers, that she realized it was possible. So if there are any little girls out there, understand that it's all possible for you, whatever you want to do, it's there for you. Don't let these bastards tell you can't do it. Okay? Yes, sir. Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. Well, the Russians went through a pretty tough time called Stalin. And they needed everybody they could use. Everybody got their hand. But plus they went through World War II, which decimated their population, as well as most of Europe. So they weren't as reluctant. They were willing to use anybody. Unfortunately, sometimes in a bad way. But yes, sir. All the way back.
So why do you think, with Buck Rogers...
Why do I think? Because I have a brain. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So no, I'm wondering. So we have Buck Rogers, and we have the Battlestar Galactica stuff, and Star Trek and whatnot. And a lot of people here asking you questions. 30, whatever plus years later. What do you think it is about those stories that so resonate with people that they stay across the time?
I have no idea. I'm amazed there's anyone else in the room besides me and Felix. You know, I mean, the last time we shot Buck Rogers was 1981. It's very gratifying. Trust me with that. I mean, I'm very pleased to see all these people in here and to see all of you come by. And I'm especially gratified. I have some kids come by and ask for my autograph who've seen the DVDs. It's like a whole new fan base. It still resonates with people, with fans, no matter what the age. And I've had 15 and 16-year-olds come up and say that, you know, they've seen it with their families, or their parents played the DVDs for them. They really enjoy the show. I think it's incredible. I just think it's fantastic that they do that. Star Trek, of course, has had the advantage of having all those movies come out. Buck Rogers hasn't done a damn thing since 1981, so, except be on the air continuously somewhere. I mean, it's on Netflix now, I think. You can download Buck Rogers, all the episodes now on Netflix. So, you know, it's been amazing to me that it does. I mean, touches me when I come into a room and all you people are here and you have questions about the show. You know, it's like I said, when I first did that first talk at the Comic-Con in San Diego many years ago, I had no concept about you guys and how attached you were to the show. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much for being here.
Is there a moment in your memory when you suddenly realized that you're working on a big hit TV show? Is there something that stands out?
No. No, I just was doing a job. You know, and I did the best I could and enjoyed it. I make a point of enjoying what I do. You remember we used to have a good time on the set?
Oh, yes, we sure did, yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad, you remember when we had the rap party on Christmas, and they were going to show, you know, the blooper or whatever?
Yeah, the blooper
Somebody
reel.
stole it?
Someone stole it, yeah.
Yeah, what a disaster that was.
We still don't know. I've never heard, I mean, it's like no one knows where that thing is. We had a blooper reel, which was really pretty funny. I will say this now, Aaron makes a point of saying that I was a practical joker on the set. I hate practical jokes, because practical jokes generally at the expense of someone else. You know, it's like you have a little buzzer thing and you, hey, isn't that funny? I don't like causing people discomfort. I have a great sense of humor. And what I did was I would play, you know, number one, when I came to the set, every day I was totally prepared. I knew my lines, your lines, everyone's lines. And I was ready for whatever you gave me, because I knew it. You know, to me, the writing, the words were the skeleton on which I had to hang the meat of the character through whatever emotions or whatever I was working with. And I've told Aaron many times, I said, you know, Aaron, I hate practical jokers. And I'm not a practical joker. I don't like causing people discomfort. I like them to be happy. I like people to laugh and to have a good time. I did play with the crew. We were working 12 hours a day. They were working far harder than I was. I was able to walk away from the set, take a break while they were working. They were busting their butts. They were there long before I was. So I made it my job to make sure that I kept it as light as possible for all those hours we were working, because we all knew that we were working really hard. We didn't need to emphasize that. So we had a very, I think, lighthearted set, and the crew loved me. I got to tell you. I mean, I've run into crew members. I remember I was at Paramount having a meeting, and one of the guys saw me and ran across the parking lot, yelling my name. And he was because I'd had a talk with him about losing weight, and he had lost all his weight. And he was so happy to see me, and he was so happy to be able to tell me he'd lost his weight, and, you know, and thank me for, you know, us getting, you know, talking about it, and me taking the time. But I used to run into guys like that all the time, and it was just, you know, it was very gratifying. And I learned that from Michael Landon, because the guys that he'd worked with since Bonanza, on Little House on the Prairie, and then the other things he did. And Mike was always very appreciative of the crew, because they're the ones that really, you know, they really put it out there. They make it possible for us to do our job. And it doesn't matter what they do. You know, the cameraman's important, but so's the guy who's holding up the filter or whatever in front of the light. Because if he's not there, you don't have the shot. So everyone is important on the set. And I just made sure that they all felt that way. And we had a good time while we were doing it, right?
Yeah, we sure did. I did the last movie with Michael Landon before he passed away.
Yeah?
In Lawrence, Kansas.
What was it called?
It was called The What Pageant Got to Die, TV show. And then he passed away about 2 months later. I didn't even know, nobody knew that he was sick.
I did.
You knew?
Yeah.
Well, he made everybody laugh. Like, you know, you're right about Michael Landon, was a great man. He made everybody laugh on the set. Great, happy guy. And he used the same crew from way back, like 30 years.
Bonanza.
Same cameraman. He came out of retirement to do the last show for him.
Yeah.
Great man, yeah.
The guy who was his cameraman wrote The Summer Wind.
He did?
Yeah. He sold it to
I didn't know
Sinatra.
that. I didn't know.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, cool things I learned while I was going through
I
that.
learned a lot of things.
Yeah. Never tell jokes with Michael around, because he was like a Vegas act. This guy could tell jokes you would not believe.
I know that. He did quite a
It
few
was
jokes.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did
What's
jokes
everyone
like-
leaving for? You bored? Gotta go to the bathroom? What is it? That's right. What is it?
We'll be done in a minute.
What? We have time for one more. Who let this guy in the room? Go ahead.
If someone were to do a reimagining of Buck Rogers like they've done for Battlestar Galactica, what advice would you give those writers?
I have no idea. I will say this, I am writing 4 stories. For some reason I can't get the rights from the Dilly family for me to write. I mean, you'd think, you know, Buck Rogers would like to write some of the stories. So I'm going to put it on my website. It's going to be called Stories I Have No Right to Tell. I'm going to be doing it a chapter at a time. It'll be on gilgerard.com. The first will be called Return to Anarchia, because I never did like the way we treated the Anarchians. Just because they were ugly and mutated and whatever, I just didn't think it was right to treat them like they were all bad. So I'm going to go back as Buck and explore those people and their human side. Because in looking back on it, it's like, no wonder they're pissed, you know. No one cares about them, they're out there rotting, and, you know, it's like no one gives a damn, they don't do anything for them. So, yeah, you know, the only time they come out, they get shot at. You know, it's like, that must be really fun. And I could never figure out why New Chicago was under a dome. I mean, I went out to Anarchia, I didn't turn into anything bad. I mean, in real life maybe, but not, you know, in the show. And I was like, you know, and they didn't, when they came out to get me, they weren't out in hazmat suits. They just came out dressed regularly. So I was like, how come you got this dome now? How come you need it? It's like, and why don't you take care of these people? You know, these are human beings. Why don't you go out there and care for them? Why don't you go out and show them some concern? And, you know, why just throw them all away? And so the first story, what happens is, I will tell you a little bit of where I'm at right now. Buck goes with Twiki and Theopolis to the archives because I really kind of want to know what's going on. Buck is he's actually going to stay on Earth. This is going to pick up right after the feature ended, where he's going, Buck, you're my kind of guy, or whatever, and we take off. Anyway, I wake up one morning and I decide, you know, I really just want to find out who I am. I'm going to do what I wanted to do in the series, and that is say to Dr. Hewer, thanks, I really, you know, I just need to kind of look out and see what's going on. Just try to put my hands on something that I'm familiar with. I haven't been here in 500 years. I'd like to kind of figure out what's going on. So we go down to the archives, and I find records, a message that has been left for me by someone from NASA who, you know, way back deep, buried in the archives from 1987, where he basically says to me, if you're reading this, you know, you made it back. The explosion was not an accident. And we go from there.
Oh, wow.
And the clues are out in Anarchia in my coffin. So I have to go and resurrect myself and find the clues that are in the coffin, which will lead me from Anarchia to other adventures beyond Anarchia, to find out why this happened and who was responsible for propelling me out into space where I was frozen for 500 years. Do you like that idea? So, I think in about a month I'll have the first chapter ready. So, hopefully if you want, check in on gilgerard.com, and it's real simple, www.gilgerard.com. And kind of keep a lookout for it, and I hope you like it. Back there, yes ma'am. Say again?
I was just going to ask you to repeat the website.
Okay, gilgerard.com. Couldn't be simpler, could it? Yeah. I wish I could have made it really complicated, you know. Not really, but it's, I just, you know, I really have always had a great deal of respect for the character of Buck Rogers. And I felt personally repulsed by the guy who produced the second season, John Mantley, because he had so little respect for you, the fans. He was laughing about the fact that the Time of the Hawk was a ripoff of a script he wrote for Gunsmoke. He thought that was really funny, that he cast Barbara Luna in both roles. One on Gunsmoke, she was an Indian princess. Michael Ansara was the Apache chieftain. And of course, Marshall Dillon was the Buck Rogers character. And Hawk, of course, was the Michael Ansara character. But he basically just ripped the script off and thought it was really funny, and he was very pleased that he was able to hire Barbara Luna for both roles. And I just thought, this is a man who has no concept and no respect for my audience, because you were all mine. You didn't belong to anybody else. You were my people, and I respect you very much, because I'm an audience too. You know, I grew up with some of the greatest shows I've ever seen on television. I think, you know, from that show of shows, which was slapstick comedy and fun, to Playhouse 90 and the New York Philharmonic on television. Who sees that anymore? They had an hour concert with the New York Philharmonic, live at Studio 8H, which is on the 8th floor of Rockefeller Center, which I actually got to shoot in one day. We were doing an hour, I did a show called The Doctors, and we did an hour show, and all the sets were on Studio 8H, and I was like, wow, the Philharmonic used to play here. You know, what a place of history to be able to do that. It's incredible. So it's been an interesting time in my life. I got to sing at the Philharmonic Hall in New York. I did a concert there, and sang some. What?
Sing for us now.
Sing for what?
Sing for us.
What? Is it lunchtime? What? You would? Oh, well, I don't know. Anybody know a song?
Summer Wind.
See? Huh? The Summer Wind? Yeah, that was a great song. I'm not Sinatra. I did sing on...
He did his way also.
Huh?
He did your way, right?
I did it my way, yes. Yeah.
That's right.
So, what do you want? The Summer Wind?
Okay.
You gonna sing with me?
Felix Silla, come on.
Huh?
You
gonna sing now? You gonna sing?
No.
Okay.
I really Please don't.
I never heard you sing.
You never heard me sing?
No, I didn't do.
What do you want? Come fly with me. Let's fly away. I did that on, thank you. I did that, that was actually, I sang that on the Rose Bowl Parade. I was a guest host or something on it. And they had me sing that song from the Goodyear Blimp. And I also sang it at the Thanksgiving Day Parade, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was really silly. I followed Diana Ross. She was right in front of me. It's like, oh, this is great. Diana Ross is singing, and then I'm going to sing, come fly with me, let's fly away. You know, it's like, oh, shit, I'm screwed. She was a very nice lady. I like Diana. Anyway, that's it, I guess. Right?
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.